Welcome to week 9 of Bible Studies for Life. We're in the second week of the second section of this quarter, and today we continue the story of Elijah from 1 Kings chapter 17. So let's just dive into this story that kind of picks up on this famine that has started and what's going on. It says, after a while, the wadi, that's the creek, remember, dried up because there had been no rain in the land. Then the word of the Lord came to him, "Get up, go to Zarephath that belongs to Sidon and stay there. Look, I have commanded a woman who is a widow to provide for you there." So Elijah got up and went to Zarephath. When he arrived at the city gate, there was a widow gathering wood. Okay, so Elijah gets this instruction that he needs to go to this different town and that there he's going to stay for a while, and there's a widow there that's going to provide for him. So, it's right about it's a little bit unusual. There's a widow that's going to provide for you. And that day and time in that culture, the widow didn't have a lot and didn't have the ability to get a lot unless someone was helping to take care of her children. She was probably in trouble. But what we have here is a woman who's a widow, but she's young. She's got a son, so she's not an elderly widow. She's a younger widow, and her son's not able to provide for her, and so no one's providing for her, and she's in trouble. That's what we're going to find out. And yet the Lord has said she's going to provide for you, so you're going to go there. So Elijah gets up and he goes, and when he gets there, shock of all shocks, he finds a widow gathering wood at the city gate. This is another indication that she's a poor woman. She doesn't have resources. She's getting together some wood. And it says Elijah called to her and said, "Please bring me a little water in a cup and let me drink." And as she went to get it, he called to her and said, "Please bring me a piece of bread in your hand." So he says, "Can I have some water?" And she's going to go get him some water. And then he says, "Can I have some bread?" Well, at that point, she said, "As the Lord your God lives, I don't have anything baked. So I don't have any bread fresh, I don't have anything ready, and only a handful of flour in the jar and a bit of oil in the jug. Just now I'm gathering a couple of sticks in order to go prepare it for myself and my son so that we can eat it and die." Well, now we know her situation. She is this poor woman who has just got enough to make that one last bit of bread, and she's going to prepare that, she's going to cook it, then she and her son are going to eat it, and that's going to be it. They're not going to have anything else, and they're going to die. They're going to starve to death. This is where she said, "This is where I'm headed. I don't have any bread to give to you. I'm trying to make a little bit of bread, and then I'm going to die. This will be the last that I have for me and my son." Well, Elijah says, "Don't be afraid. Go and do as you've said, but first make me a small loaf from it and bring it out to me." Wow. Seem a little bit uncaring? I mean, seem a little harsh. She just told you she's going to go get her last bit of bread, and then she and her son are going to starve to death. And he's like, "Hey, you go ahead and do that, but before you do that, could you bring me a loaf?" Wow, right? But look what else he says. Afterward, he says, "After you make me some, you'll make some for yourself and your son, for this is what the Lord God of Israel says. The flour jar will not become empty, and the oil jug will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the surface of the land." He says, "Look, you'd make that for me, but you don't worry, because after that, the Lord has already promised that you're never going to run out of flour, and you're not ever going to run out of oil. It's just not going to happen until the Lord sends rain, and then we get out of this time that we're in. God's going to take care of you. God is going to meet your needs. God's going to do everything that you need. You just give to me. You do what I'm asking you to. The Lord's going to take care of you." Whew. It's pretty tough, don't you think? So the title of the message is about trusting and serving while you're trusting. And here you've got Elijah that trusted the Lord. The Lord told him to go, so he's going. And now he's asking for this, and he's trusting that God's going to deliver not just him, but this woman and her son. And he's asking her to trust him as she trusts in the Lord. Put your trust in me. I'm telling you what the Lord's going to do, and you can put your trust in him. Now, this is a great thing to think about. Okay, I remember one time I was talking to a student. I was a youth minister and talking to a student about something, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I said, now, quoted him some verses and said, "You believe what I'm telling you, or do you want me to show it where it says that in the Bible?" And he says, "Yeah, show me where it says that in the Bible." And I was a little bit offended, like, man, you trust me, but I was happy that he wanted to see those passages in Scripture himself, and he was going to trust the Lord, and more than he was going to trust me, I think, at that time, which is fine. This ask that Elijah is making is pretty bold. I mean, he just has met this woman, and he's already saying, "You need to trust me, okay? Trust me, because this is what the Lord's going to do, and then you can trust the Lord." That's a big ask, and it helps if you've got time, if you've put time in, and if you've built up relationship, and you've got some wins under your belt, right? You've said some things, done some things that prove trustworthy. Then a person's more likely to trust you. But here, she's got a real challenge before her. But look, so she proceeded to do according to the word of Elijah. She trusted him. She said, "I'll do what Elijah says." And maybe in some ways it was what other, I don't have a better option. But he's saying that we'll be able to eat for a while, that this will not be our last meal, that we'll have many meals to come after this. And gosh, if this is not our last meal, well, if he's wrong, we just missed one meal, But then the woman, Elijah, and her household ate for many days. The flour jar did not become empty. The oil jug did not run dry, according to the word of the Lord he had spoken through Elijah. And boy, here you have this fulfillment. And don't you see that trust and that faith growing over time? As you continue to see, every day she goes back and the flour is still in the jar. She took some out, but there's still flour there left. Whenever she thinks it's empty, it's never empty. She thinks, well, this will be the last handful, but every time she puts her hand back in, there's more. She thinks this will be the last I'll pour out of the jar, but when she pours out of the jar, it just never seems to get to the bottom. This is God. This is how God does things, okay? This is God's provision for us, and that always God will provide what we need, and that God will take care of those needs. We need to trust him to do so, even when it appears that he hasn't. Don't worry, God will, okay? He's never late, okay? He's always going to get it when we need it, so trust in him, even when it's dire circumstances, when you think this is the last meal I'm going to have. That's where she was, right? But the Lord continued every day. Now, he didn't bring over big jars of flour and big jars of oil that she could just pull out of. She still had the small one, right? She still had the little that she had. That's what she had, but it was like it never found a bottom. When you get the big jar, you think, "Oh, well, I'll have it now. I don't have to worry about it." And over time, you can forget, I need to trust God for what he's going to do today. Right? I need to trust him for today. And this kept her in that mode of always having to trust God for the day. Always needing to trust him for what I'm going to get now. We have to really consider the depth of what is going on here with her, okay? Elijah is leading her, and Elijah's in this relationship with the Lord, and now he's leading her to join in this relationship with him, where you trust the Lord every day for what you need today, and that the Lord will take care of those needs. The real challenge for her was in the midst of that. The first request was to be generous with the little. Help me. Elijah, you help me, then God will help you. He'll take care of you for many days after that. Our hesitancy is often, when we get to the little, to become pretty tight with it, right? And a little stingy with it. We need to learn to trust God, to be generous with the little that we have, and let him take care of whatever else is left. Now, I'm not saying that's easy at all. It's a challenge for sure. But what a joy it is when we trust God with the little, that we act generously, and then we see him continue to meet our needs. Well, that's just a little bit on this passage from 1 Kings chapter 17. I hope that's been helpful for you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, leave a comment below your thoughts about what's going on with Elijah and this story and the ones coming up, and we'll see you next time. All right? Take care.